The 9th and 10th of April 2024. These two dates will go down as two of the most unbelievable nights in Champions League history. It's what we call absolute cinema. Yoda made an appearance, Luis Enrique and Xavi almost got into a scuffle, Diego Simeone and Sebastian Kehl actually got into a scuffle, Erling Haaland was non-existent, Kylian Mbappe was non-existent, Jack Grealish vs Danny Carvajal was back, and Gabriel forgot the first rule of football. 8 heavy hitters in world football, blessing us with 4 of the greatest first leg ties in Champions League history and giving the fans exactly what they want. And the neutrals were the real winners here. If you didn't watch these games live, even if it was just one of them, I'm so sorry. But the good news is that none of these ties have been settled and everything is still to play for. Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. I'm Tinashe, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to stand up for this one to add a little bit more energy to this. I haven't done a Champions League review in a while and I'm really sorry for the inconsistency, but truth be told, I wasn't even planning on doing this video. I've got a longer video essay coming out either tomorrow or Saturday, one of those 2 days, and that was going to be that for the week. But then the football gods decided to bless us and listen man, we have to give thanks. UEFA have been accused of many things in the past, but maybe their biggest crime is putting these matches on at the same time, and their second biggest crime is choosing to blow the whistle at the end of each match. Despicable. There was a lot of free-flowing football over the past few days, and I think that there is no better vindication for the exclusion of the away goals rule than these past few games. Teams no longer have to be as cynical in their planning, and I'm all here for it. On both nights, I was sat there watching 2 screens like this for 90 minutes, but I must admit, the City-Madrid match was probably the pick of the bunch. So let's start there. Madrid most definitely had last year's match in their minds all the way throughout their preparation. It was an embarrassment. I can't remember the last time that I saw Real Madrid dominated by a team like they were in that matchup. Dare I say that it was against Barcelona? I'm thinking about a certain 5-0 defeat against a Pep Guardiola-led Barcelona over a decade ago? No. It was probably more recent than that, but I'm trying to build a narrative here, so you guys have to excuse me. Right before the match, UEFA gave Real Madrid permission to close the roof of the Bernabeu to raise the noise levels and create an atmosphere. It's the first time I've heard of that tactic, but if you can, why not? It's too bad that the stadium was mostly quiet after only 2 minutes, apart from a small group of traveling sky blue fans, of course. Bernardo Silva hates Real Madrid. At this point, I'm starting to think he waits all year for this fixture alone. He stood over the ball after only a minute had been played and fooled not just us, but Andre Lunin too. One of those rare occasions where a sneakily taken free kick comes off. But like I said, Madrid definitely learned from last year. Off the ball, the midfield was compact and they defended with pretty much the full 11. We gotta give them major props because a lot of the times when you concede this early, the entire game plan goes out the window. Not this time though. And they got a really good hit of luck when Camavinga scored off a long-range deflection. Grealish could have done better to close him down here, but at that distance you can't really dish out too much blame for him not being more aggressive. Real Madrid were also given a really huge boost thanks to the fact that Man City were missing probably their greatest equalizer, and by that I mean Kyle Walker. He's about to be 34, but almost every winger in world football usually doesn't stand a chance against him, except when he's on the nursing bed, of course. Rodrigo took full advantage of that, knowing Akanji was not Kyle Walker in a foot race for the second. There's probably a joke to be made about Walker not being in the team and the team losing a bit of pace there, but I'm not gonna make it. City compensated by not pushing up the field as much as they usually do, but all the same, the vast majority of Real Madrid's attacks came down that left side, i.e. City's right side. I'll be the first to admit that I was bad-mouthing Phil Foden for a large amount of the match because he lost the ball a couple of times and he wasn't really present within it for a large portion of it, if we're all being honest. And then he hits what, at that point at least, was the sweetest strike of the night. He knew exactly what he was doing here as he receives the ball, lets it run onto the side, and then bang. He scored several goals like this already this season. Heck, he scored one against Manchester United, I remember. Before Tuesday night, Josko Vardiol had not scored a goal for Manchester City as of yet. In fact, the last goal that he scored was actually in the Champions League, but it was against Man City. so this is probably the best way to make amends. He definitely doesn't mean to control the ball with such a heavy touch, but he makes it count in the end. Toni Kroos probably should have gotten closer to him here, and also Gvardiol's technique on his shot looked a little bit awkward to me, if I'm being honest. But then I remembered that he's a left-footed centre-back playing at left-back that hasn't scored all season, and he scored this goal with his right foot from outside the box. Expect the unexpected, I guess. What should have been expected though is that the introduction of Luka Modric to the game would change everything significantly. He came on in the 72nd minute and almost all of his actions after that were dangerous. 7 minutes after he came on, he drives towards the left, Vinicius Jr. sets up Fede Valverde, and we have a new sweetest strike of the night. What can you actually do for a goal like this? Ortega is rooted, City's defense is rooted. This guy has immense technique. But this was unreal. This game was a really good example of two hyper-attacking teams going at each other fiercely. It's gonna sound crazy because this game was 3-3 after all in the end, but none of these teams played badly. All of the goals either came down to individual brilliance or minor mistakes, and overall, both teams showed unbelievable quality throughout. Rudiger left the stadium with some huge pockets, and Erling Haaland apparently never showed up with a flight to Madrid. We've seen this before. The second leg is about to be unbelievable. Arsenal versus Bayern Munich. Arsenal were definitely the favorites going into here, but we all seem to forget that Bayern Munich are indeed still a very strong team. Just not as strong as they have been in the past thanks to the impossibly high standards that they've set for themselves, but still a pretty damn strong team regardless of what the media says. Let's not forget that in most other seasons other than this one over the past decade and a bit, this Bayern team would be leading the Bundesliga if they weren't up against a behemoth of a football club. So their showing against Arsenal shouldn't have been surprising. Saka in this position is not where you want him to be if you're a goalkeeper, even if you're Manuel Neuer, and he showed why too. Overall, I thought that the Gunners played better and they were just the better team there, and that most of the goals that they conceded were mostly due to their own errors rather than Bayern overwhelming them. It's the only way I can explain a Champions League level defender picking up a ball in his own box while it's in play, and also no penalty being given. It's a strange one. A series of bad passes led to Serge Gnabry not just scoring against his former club, but stirring the pot too. Did you expect Harry Kane to score in this match? I did. Did you expect Harry Kane to score a penalty in this match? I did that too. It's the history of Arsenal. And he made David Raya look pretty bad with the fake run-up. We all know he usually does a fast approach, but he clearly knew that Raya knew that too. And Sane, who won the penalty in the first place, was untouchable in that first half. I think he should have put Bayern 3-1 up towards the end of it. Leandro Trossard came clutch with a goal to make it level, as he did in the previous round against Porto. This time, against Bayern. But we really do have to talk about Gabriel Jesus' footwork in the box right before setting Trossard up. He gives the Bayern defense no chance. And then, of course, we have to finish the game off with a little bit of controversy. Bukayo Saka goes down in the box after getting contact from Manuel Neuer, and everyone loses their mind. Here's the thing though, yes there is contact, but Saka is blatantly looking for it. He even sticks his leg out to catch Manuel Neuer. But at the same time though, it's a tough choice, because Neuer himself makes a lunging movement, allowing Saka to catch him in the first place. So based on that, if the penalty was given, I don't think there'd be too much to argue about. I don't know, man, but maybe that's why I'm not a referee. Atletico Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund. Atletico were relentless in the first half. Heck, from the first second. For the second time in 24 hours, we had a Champions League quarterfinal first leg that had a goal come before 4 minutes had even passed. Rodrigo de Paul pounced on Dortmund's laziness and made them pay for it. He can see that they're getting pressed hard, yet still opts to keep them in danger. You can't do these things against a team like Atletico Madrid, no less in the first 4 minutes when they're fully charged. And the rest of the first half pretty much went the exact same way. Atletico could have pulled very far ahead on numerous occasions, but they were getting close. What happened next showed why Antoine Griezmann is so great. He's one of those players that everyone knows is amazing. I mean, he was officially the third best player in the world back in 2016, I think it is, but I still think he's underrated. There is nobody in world football that possesses the skill set that he does, both in attack and defense. For Atletico's second, he puts himself behind the defenders as they have a throw-in. The Dortmund players can't keep their attention on him, so when the ball comes back into play, he's now in an onside position. The ball gets to him, and even though he has the quality to shoot and score, he decides to lay it off to Samuel Lino. And just take a look at that finish. It's beautiful. Atletico were cooking, and Dortmund were experiencing a first half from hell. I think they only had like one shot on target in the entire first half. But that second half was completely different. Dortmund grew and grew further into the match to the point where I think they probably should have been level by the time it was over. Sebastian Aller pulled one back in the 81st minute after a bit of bad luck with the ball coming off an Atletico defender. And then they proceeded to hit the post twice before the game came to a close. Diego Simeone somehow got into a touchline fight with Sebastian Kehl, who is a former Dortmund player and current Dortmund sporting director. This happened after Dortmund continued to play the game, despite the fact that Emre Can was lying on the floor in pain. However, Can was on the floor for a while. Dortmund themselves decided to continue playing while he was still there, and only found an issue with it once Atletico got the ball. So, believe it or not, Kehl is in the wrong here. Based on the way Atletico folded in the final 20 minutes of this one, I would say that Dortmund have a really good chance of coming away with a positive result come the second leg. Now, admittedly, I haven't watched too much of Dortmund this season. I've mostly just been watching Bayern Munich and Bayern Leverkusen, of course, so I don't really know how they play home versus away. Any Dortmund fans in the comments, maybe you could chime in and help us out here. But what I will say is that I'd be worried if I were Atletico. With the combination of poor finishing and lapses in concentration, I think they kind of got away with this one. I'm also hearing that Atletico are poor away from home this season. So there's that too. Paris Saint-Germain versus Barcelona. Another one of those matchups with deep lore. A lot of that lore having to do with Neymar. For the first time in 10, 11 seasons is a player for neither of these clubs. Time really flies, man. Luis Enrique came up against his former club, and even more than that, came head to head with the captain of the team that he led to a treble back in 2015. They were definitely speaking Spanish here, but it's clips like this one in the tunnel before the game that transcend language. PSG had more control over the course of the match, I would say, but Barcelona defended really well, and I would say their defense was the true star of the match. 16-year-old Lamine Yamal was playing peaches from that right-hand side, and Rafinha was just a menace, chasing down all those loose balls and not giving the defense a rest. He was rewarded for it too, opening the scoring in the 36th minute with a well-taken strike. Barcelona are showing the world yet again why they're so well-renowned as a talent factory. Of course, Yamal is only 16. Centre-back Pau Cubarsí is only 17, and he looks like the real deal. He was really calm on the ball all game and put in some stellar tackles. Barcelona fans must be pinching themselves daily, simply due to the fact that they've gone from Piqué and Longley to Ronald Araujo and Pau Cubarsí. The likes of Gavi, Fermín López, and Alejandro Balde, who are all 20 years old or younger, may as well be senior players in the team at this point. And their progress is in large part due to Xavi, who is leaving. But let's not go overboard with the Barcelona praise here. They weren't on top for the whole match, after all. PSG had a Yoda tifo on the pitch before the game, which is pretty cool. I'm not really a fan of the red and blue sabers though. I seen a comment on Reddit that said Yoda's never looked more like a Ninja Turtle. Given the context, I find it hard to disagree, and the force was definitely with them, only after halftime though. Barcelona never returned from the dressing room, and within 5 minutes after the break, PSG had taken the lead. I guess they'd taken a page out of Real Madrid's book the night before and scored 2 goals in 2 minutes. First, Ousmane Dembele rifled one in. The guy hit the ball so hard he fell over like a cartoon character slipping over a banana or something. And then the madman celebrated. I don't know, man, a €150 million player that was given a lot of patience throughout all the injuries that he had over the years, and then when he finally got a bit more consistent and got back into the team and showed some really good form, left at the first opportunity. I don't know, man, celebrating like that is kind of wild. Vitinha completed the quick 1-2 to make it 2-1. I couldn't believe my eyes. These matches were just too good. But it was Barcelona that got the last laugh. And even though Ousmane Dembele scored that goal and hit the post a bit later on in the match, he was kind of kept quiet for a lot of that match by Cancelo. Even Kylian Mbappe didn't feature all that much. It's weird to see Barcelona defend so competently in a high-level Champions League matchup. It feels like it's been years. Rafinha solidified that man of the match performance by getting the second after Pedri gave him a dime of a ball, only seconds after returning from injury. It must have been like Pedri's second or third touch of the entire match. And to wrap it all up, Andreas Christensen, who never scores, headed home to make it 3-2, and to add even more layers to that, he was a sub, and it was his birthday. Yet another substitute that paid insane dividends. Who says that Xavi can't make tactical switches? As a result of all of this, PSG suffered their first defeat in 28 games, and Gianluigi Donnarumma had a stinker of a match. For the third goal especially, I thought he should have come out to collect. 6'7" for no reason, I guess. We've been blessed with some incredible games here, guys. I cannot wait for next week, which is, I guess, exactly why the second legs are going to be filled with 0-0 draws. I'm calling it now. Don't quote me on this though, if I'm wrong. Anyway, that's all for me today, guys. Let me know what you guys thought about this insane group of matches. That's all for me today. Hope you guys enjoy. Hope you're having a great day. Cheers, and I will catch you in the next one.